friends, welcome back to Crafting Through the Catalog, where we create cards in 5 simple steps. No pressure, just creativity. If you've ever looked through a new catalog and felt inspired but also a little overwhelmed, this series is for you. My goal is to help you move from catalog inspiration to completed card. This week's card is focused on the Endless Love bundle and the suite that goes along with it. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified of new videos. And without further ado, let's get crafting. So here I am here. I have some new shimmer paper. This is the Bubble Bath color of shimmer paper. And I've got the largest postage rectangle die here. Hi Milo. Can you hear him? He's coming. I've got the largest postage die here. And one of the hearts from the Endless Love dies. And what we're going to do today is make a shaker. I don't know about you, but I love shaker cards. So in this suite, there's this really cute like clay shaker embellishment mix. So we have to make a shaker. So I'm going to take and I'm going to use this heart die twice. There is another heart die that has like a little tag on top of it. We're not going to use that one. We're just going to use this solid heart image. Here I am cutting out one of the little banners from white. I've cut out a whole bunch of other pieces. I will show them to you here in just a moment. And I did die cut them ahead of time just to save some time. You don't need to watch me die cut everything, but I will tell you what I die cut out. So here we have the cover to our shaker for building our base. And we need to put a little backer for our shaker. So from that suite, I've taken some of the DSP and I've trimmed it down to be just larger than that postage, I was going to say square, that postage square rectangle, postage rectangle. And here we have, oh, I said I took the largest rectangle, but I didn't. I took the second largest rectangle. I'm taking the embossing folder that comes in that suite also. It's a really cute random array of hearts. And I'm embossing that shimmer paper with that embossing folder just to add some more texture. So now I took a piece of strawberry slush cardstock and I trimmed it to be just larger than the DSP. And I have another piece of DSP, that darker red, that's Poppy Parade, and that's a full card front. So we'll work on creating the focal point now that we have our base done. And the focal point is going to be our shaker. So here I have that exact same rectangle postage die that I used for the shimmer paper. And I'm die cutting it again from a window sheet, which is just clear acetate. I'm going to use some liquid glue to put that on the back here. And that's going to hold all of our shaker pieces in. So the glue does take a little bit of time to dry. Don't go overboard. You don't want it to ooze out. So I'll just line that up and give it a good press. We have two things here that don't like liquid glue, shimmer paper and acetate. So just make sure you give it plenty of time to adhere. Now what we're going to do to make our shaker well is use some foam strips. And a little trick I have for you for foam strips, to make them bendable, you can bend them into whatever shape you want. All you have to do is remove the backer first. So if you left the backer on, you wouldn't be able to form this into like a curved shape. You'd have to just do it in straight lines. But by removing the backer, it becomes super flexible and it allows you to bend it in whatever shape you want. So rather than have all of my clay embellishments pooled at the bottom of the card, I want them to stay behind each heart. So I'm going to trace out each heart shape here with the foam, making sure I'm connecting the ends so that they don't, like we don't have any loose pieces that stray. And then I'll fill in the empty spaces here with some more foam tape. And peel the extra backers off, and then we can start adding our shaker pieces. So I like a really full shaker. You can fill this shaker as full as you want with whatever pieces you want. Even the dies have some little hearts that they die cut, so you could die cut paper hearts and put those in here too from a few different colors. So I'm just going to scoop some in here until I think it looks full enough. And again, I like a really full shaker, so I'm sort of spreading them out, seeing what they look like. And then when I'm happy with how much I have in there, I'm going to take that XO piece of DSP that I backed with the strawberry slush cardstock, and I'm going to do my best to line it up, flip it over and line it up. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's handmade, right? So here we go. I'll press that down really well and flip it over, and we have a super cute shaker, you guys. I love shakers. So we'll add this to the strawberry slush piece, and then in a little bit I think we'll add it to the red DSP, or the Poppy Parade DSP. So here we'll pull in all the other die cut pieces I have. So I have 2 little arrows from Strawberry Slush, a big arrow from Poppy Parade, the X and O I die cut from the DSP that's on the background. I die cut them from that DSP, and then the X's also from the Bubble Bath shimmer paper. Here I'm going to add Stella to everything. And what else did I die cut? Oh, I die cut some banners, one from the DSP and one from white. And let's see how we're going to lay everything out. So this is the fun part. You have to figure out how we're going to lay everything out. I think I'm going to put the sentiment in the center there. And I am going to cut a different sentiment, a different piece of cardstock for the sentiment. I love pink and red together, so that's why I did a lot of pink and red. There is a little bit of white in that DSP and also in the embellishment mix, so I think we definitely need some white in here too. So here's the large arrow, and then 2 small arrows, and our X's and our O's. And the O's, it's not just a circle, it's a little heart for the center of the circle. It's really cute. So that's sort of the general idea. We'll glue everything down here once we figure out where everything should go. So play around, move things around, die cut more things if you need more things. There are some other things in this die set that we did not die cut out. There's 2 other hearts. There's some little baby hearts. Lots of stuff. Okay, so here we'll select our sentiment. I think we needed some more pink, so I'm going to pull in a scrap of Strawberry Slush, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment Hugs and Kisses in embossing ink, and then we'll heat emboss with white embossing powder. So make sure you use your powder tool. I did use embossing ink here, like Versamark, but normally when I heat emboss in white embossing powder, I like to use white pigment ink. So that's what I should have used, and that's what I would recommend using. It just helps if there are any missing spots on your embossing powder. The white pigment ink helps fill in the gaps when you're using white embossing powder. So that's what I would recommend, but you don't have to. You can just use embossing ink. So we'll heat emboss that and then die cut it out with that same little banner die. Isn't it cute? Hugs and Kisses. XOXO. And we're going to add... I think it needs something else, so we're going to add the white banner right behind it like that. We're not actually going to use the little hole that the tag cuts, so we don't need to line everything up. This also gives our sentiment some more dimension and makes it sturdier. So we do have some dimension already with the 1 layer of foam tape, but foam tape is not very thick. At least this foam tape isn't. So I feel like we can have another layer of dimension on this card with the sentiment. I will adhere the arrows on the card with liquid glue. So I'll do the large arrow kind of where like behind where the sentiment is going to go, and then these smaller arrows across the smaller hearts. Something else I like to do on acetate is stamp on it with StazOn. We didn't do it in this card, but I should do it in another card to show you what that looks like. It's really pretty. You can't stamp with acetate, or you can't stamp on acetate with normal ink. It never dries. But you can either heat emboss on it, or you can stamp with StazOn in either, well, I have black and white. I know there's brown and a whole bunch of other colors that I don't have, but all right, we're going to glue the X's and O's down, and it is acetate and liquid glue, so they don't like to stick very well. So I'm going to put some magnets on here, or you could just put something heavy too. So while we wait for that to dry a little bit, we'll add some dimensionals. Apparently all I have are minis. I don't know why, but that's what I had sitting on my desk, so that's what I used. All right, we can work on adding the details. So we have our sentiment added onto the card there. We definitely need a bow. So this is a bubble bath ribbon. It's really thin and delicate, and it is part of the suite. So we'll add that over the little hole that the tag die makes. Add our sentiment here. I'm gonna put it at an angle. Normally I like 90-degree angles and everything lined up and perfect. So it's very hard for me to put things like kitty wampus, but I'm proud of myself. I hope you guys are proud of me because I put two things kitty wampus today. The sentiment is a little kitty wampus. And we're going to trim our tails on our bow here. And then I'm also going to put the shaker onto the background kitty wampus too. I really wanted to straighten it out, but I resisted the urge and tilted it. And part of the reason why I did this is because everything about this card is a little off, right? The hearts are at an angle, the arrows are at an angle, the sentiments are at an angle, and then I want to see some more of that DSP on the background. So let's just put the focal point at an angle too. Why not, right? When in Rome. So here I'm going to add 7, I think, of these little shaker embellishment pieces just to the background with some liquid glue. And we can work on our card base and our inside. So in order to show it off, we have to make a card base. So here I have Poppy Parade. And you guys, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm not making a top folding card. I'm making a side folding card. So here I have 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. And that's Poppy Parade. And then I have a white piece here, which I do end up trimming this down. What is it trimmed down to? Let me see here if I can grab a ruler. So I decided I wanted to bring some more DSP to the inside of the card, so I'm trimming this DSP to 4 by 5.25, and then the white piece I'm trimming down to 3.5 by 4.75, so that I can see some of the DSP on the inside here. So here I have my inside, and I'm going to stamp the hearts and Valentines in Strawberry Slush. Strawberry Slush, when you put it on Poppy Parade, it looks a lot like Poppy Parade. When I stamped it, I had to do a double take, but it is Poppy Parade. It lightens up as it dries. So I like to stamp in non-traditional places, so that's why I'm not stamping in the center. Now, I can't find my chamois, or I didn't get it wet or something, I can't remember, and I couldn't find any wipes, so I'm going to take off my stamps without cleaning them, but you should 100% clean your stamps. And now, around Valentine's, we're going to stamp Happy and Day, so we have Happy Valentine's Day, and those are going to be in Bubble Bath. Now, I'm putting the Happy and the Day, overlapping the Valentine's, so it looks really cute. The sentiment kind of like runs into each other, and I like that. So we will get that stamped. And then the last thing that we'll do in Bubble Bath is there's this little stamp. It has like 1, 2, 3. It has 6 little dots in a random pattern. So we're going to add those to around the sentiment there. I'll stamp it 3 times. And then we'll get this added to the DSP and then added to the inside of the card. Here we go, I found my big glue. I like to use my little glue for little things and my big glue for big things, but I couldn't find my big glue. But here, apparently I found it. So we'll get that added to the inside and get the front of our card base, or our card, I guess, our card front, added to the card base. It's a full card base there. And there we go. We have our finished shaker. And it's so cute. I love getting shaker cards. They're so custom and adorable. So I hope you give this a try. If you do, please tag me on social media. So use what you have, make it your own, and most of all, have fun.